Alright, what's up guys? Elijah here with another video, and today I'm going to tell the story about the time I moved from Northern California to here, to New Mexico, where I live now. So, as a little bit of backstory, I was actually born here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then when I was like 3, we ultimately ended up moving away. Like, we moved... First, we spent a little bit of time in Arizona, and then we almost like ended up in Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon. And eventually, my mom, for some reason, I guess like one time she came here, she came to a small town in Northern California, up near Oregon, and it was called Arcata. So we ended up in Arcata for a little while, and basically, yeah, I spent about 6 years there. So from 2008 to 2014. So let me see, that was like, I started school there, you know, I like basically started my life there as a child. That's like my early childhood. And then around 2014, I was like 8 or, I think I turned 9. It was like right before my 9th birthday, we ended up moving to Albuquerque. So we moved back because basically what happened is my granddad, he was getting pretty old. He was in his 70s, and rest in peace, by the way. And basically, he called us one night, and he kind of guilt-tripped us into moving here. So that's what ultimately happened. That's why we're here. And honestly, so I'm going to fast forward to when I started school here. So when I started out, I'm going to be honest, I started, like, the school I went to in Arcata was really small. It was a small charter school. It was actually an old house that they converted into a school. And I liked it. It was a pretty nice school. You know, they weren't super strict. Like, you could wear hats inside the building. I'm wearing one right now because this is my house and I can wear whatever I want here. And anyway, yeah, so we were allowed to wear hats in the building. We were allowed to basically, like, we had rules, though, that we had to follow. For one, like, no cussing, no acting out, no hitting other people. That was about it, though. So when I got to Albuquerque, like, when I say I went to school, it felt like I had gone to Nazi Germany. Like, it was so strict. Like, you could not do anything there. You basically, like, the school was just super, like, I went to a public school, and this was a bigger school as well, so I didn't know anybody. I was already in a bad mood, and I also have an issue with people being, like, really strict with me or stern with me. Like, I hate being talked to. So day one, let's start with when I first showed up at the school. I met my teacher. Her name was Miss Smith, and that's the name I'm going to use for her. And Miss Smith was a really uptight lady. Like, she got mad at me once for saying shoot. Like, I was like, shoot, I didn't do that. And she was like getting mad at me about it, and I'm like, okay. And day one, she got mad at me, and I did not like her. Day 2, I ultimately ended up throwing, like, kind of a tantrum. Like, what happened was I was in the bathroom, okay? I was at the urinal, and this guy, he kept standing all obnoxiously close, like, all up on me, and I'm like, bro, back off, man, and I'm making enough noise. And he's arguing with me, and I'm, like, 9 years old, and we're in the school bathroom. We were on a break from class, and I'm just not having it. And I'm like, dude, back up off me, man. Just back up a few feet. And he wants to start giving me crap about it. No pun intended. Actually, never mind. I'm getting a sidetrack. So this is day 2. And he's giving me crap about it and arguing with me. And I'm like, bro, just back up. And then the teacher hears us yelling and makes us leave. And I'm just like, oh. And I made a noise. And she goes, excuse me, you do not make that growling noise at me. And I hate being yelled at, so I just started crying. I'm not going to lie. I cried, and then this one lady came up to me, and she asked me what was wrong, and they brought me into a counselor's office. They talked to me, and I was new. And the thing about me is, this was a whole new experience to me. So I had basically transferred from I basically moved here from a small town on the coast where it never really gets hot to a big city in the middle of a desert and a big school. So obviously my small town mind at the time could not comprehend it that much. I was like 9 years old, very much still a child, and my first few months in Albuquerque were rough. I hated being here. I thought about moving back to Arcata. Well, I couldn't have because my granddad wanted us here, so yeah. But I'm not going to blame him too much. I'm glad I got to spend time with my granddad and my family out here. But it's just, my first weeks here sucked. It was hot too, so I had to adjust to that. It actually wasn't too bad, the heat in the beginning when I was a kid. It used to rain a lot, actually, when I first moved here. Like, I moved here in the summer. We were getting, like, frequent rainstorms and snowstorms in the winter. So, yeah, it wasn't super bad in the summer, but still, it took a lot of adjusting to Albuquerque. I also got sick a lot. Like, the thing about the high altitude is I would get sick, and I'm also not used to the sun because where I lived, it was mostly cloudy most of the year and rainy and overcast. So I wasn't used to the sun, and it was also a higher altitude and a higher UV index, so I had to adjust to it. And despite being born here, I wasn't used to it. So it took some getting used to, and I just like, it was rough. So anyway, that teacher made me mad that day. I cried. I talked to my counselor, and yeah, we moved on. Eventually, so then day 3, because we started school on what? It was like the first week of school was just orientation, and I got to check out the school. I met my principal, like, all of that. That was good with me. So day 3 comes, and I'm on the playground, and the thing is, this playground was huge compared to my previous school. Like I said, my previous school was an old house with a huge yard, basically, and not very much big playground equipment. Like, they had more swings than them, too, because back at my old school, we only had 2 swings, and we would often have to, like, take turns on the swings. But this one was really big. It was big, expansive. There was a huge, like, football field out back. And I'm like, I can't lie, I'm just running around, having a good time, and there's this wall. It's like a slanted wall, and I guess it's there for, like, rain protection, because apparently they need it there. I don't know, but it's basically on the side of the playground, and I start running on it just for fun, I'm on the wall. I'm having a good time. I'm being a kid. And this one lady, oh my god, she was a real female dog. And I mean that in the least nice way possible. She goes, yeah, and this is after I ran on the wall. So I then go and climb on this, like, play structure thing, and she comes up to me, she's like, you, get down here! And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you do not run on that wall! And she's screaming at me, and I'm like, and basically, this old lady was being a twat, and I'm gonna say that very, very rudely. I do not care who I offend. She was being a complete twat and telling me to get down from this thing. And I'm a kid. I'm just laughing and having fun. And she's getting on my nerves, and like, she's being extremely rude about it too. She just, like, came up to me and asked me nicely. I wouldn't have gotten all butthurt, but I'm very much butthurt. And I'm arguing with her, and then eventually I just walk away because I'm done. And this lady upset me. Then I walk off to this corner of the playground and I start crying because, I'll be honest, I've never been that good with my emotions. Like, as a kid, I was not. Now, as an adult, like, my emotions are a lot more under control, but I was a kid. My natural response is when someone was being mean to me just to cry about it. And I don't do that anymore. Nowadays, if somebody's being mean to me, I'm just going to straight up tell them to their face to off and help themselves. But I'm moving on. So I'm crying, and then there's some people in my class who come up to me to see if I'm okay, and I'm, like, telling them what happened, and I'm upset. And then the lady comes back up to me with a much sweeter tone. She's like, I'm sorry, we don't want you to get hurt. And I'm, like, still mad at her, and I'm crying into the time I get into the building, and then my teacher, the same one who yelled at me the day before, sends me back outside, or sends me back out to the hallway, and this time there's another lady waiting for me. And she brings me in there, it makes me apologize to the class for throwing such a tantrum. And I'm like, I'm upset. And they looked into my history, though. They knew I moved here. And something I really hated is they gave out a lot of homework. Like, more homework than you need. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is my hot take. Who needs homework? Teachers, do a better job teaching at school than assigning freaking homework. I mean, that was only my elementary school, though. Every other school or class I had to do was fine. Like, the only time you had to do homework is if you missed something in class, which, in my opinion, is much better than, because homework was originally invented as a punishment. So, yeah. But I digress. So, I'm upset, I cried, and then after that, I'm just like not happy, and I wanted to leave school. I wanted to just go back, hop back on the plane, and head back to California, because, yeah, but that wasn't really realistically an option. And I'm sick of this school. So far, to me, this school is basically a prison to me. Like, you could not do anything. Like, I felt like I was in North Korea or something. Like, and this would go on for a while. So this was only my first year, my third grade. I was in third grade. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but I moved here around my third grade year, and it's just like, and keep in mind, I'm from a small town. I mean, I was born here, but I grew up in a really small town, and honestly, Albuquerque, New Mexico is a world away from Arcata, California. But now that I'm like 20 years old now, I'm used to the climate. I'm used to the aspects and the way people act. And I'll be honest, that first year, my teacher was really rude. She had a very bad attitude, but I generally didn't have any problems with her. Now, eventually, third grade year went by in a breeze. They moved. So what happened is I got diagnosed with ADHD and autism. So yeah, I'm diagnosed, and I'm diagnosed with that, and that's partially been attributed to me just how I acted in school. And my doctor diagnosed me, and I basically, yeah, autism, ADHD. Well, I was diagnosed with autism much later, but they diagnosed me with ADHD, and then they put me on medication, which, bad plan. I'm going to say this, the medication, basically, it made me anorexic, and then once I stopped taking it, I gained a lot of weight. So the medication basically just ruined my appetite, made me anorexic, made me not want to. I was really skinny too. It's basically just meth, legalized meth. And I'm going to say this, if I have any kids, I am not medicating them. Be yourself, people. It's better than being on some drugs that are not going to do anything, just make you depressed and unable to eat. So yeah, and besides, I had to be on this medication until like early high school, and this was during the pandemic, so and when I stopped taking it, I started messing up, but then eventually, once I started taking it, I had to take it just to get myself on track with school, and then come 2021, I dumped the medication down a drain, down in the trash. And I'm like, and I just changed myself. I started acting normally. I realized medication, don't medicate your children, parents. If you're watching this and you medicate your children, you're not viewed, in my eyes, as a very good parent. So, yeah. But anyway, they diagnosed me, and yeah, I had ADHD. They gave me meds. I went to school, third grade for the rest of the year. They also put me in kind of a more special class, like a special ed class. And I think putting me in the special ed class helped. So shout out to you if you're watching this. Like, the teacher in that class was very supportive, very kind. You could always talk to her if you needed anything. And she was a very good teacher. She, she'll help you out even if I'm like, and I made a lot of friends from that class too. Like, I even had a crush on a girl from that class. I'm not gonna lie. I've always had crushes on girls in elementary school, so that class really helped me. And come fourth grade, my teacher the following year, she was cool. And matter of fact, if you're watching this, hit me up. I'd love to talk to you again. So my teacher in fourth grade was cool. Now, I had made this best friend, basically. He ended up moving to Florida, and I didn't see him again. So I sadly had to lose my best friend, but I still had plenty of friends from that class I mentioned, and we all saw each other because we had to be in the class. So it was a special ed type class they put me in, and honestly, I think it definitely helped me get through school a lot easier with like my disability and stuff. And later on the line, like I said, I was diagnosed with autism, and honestly, I don't even care about mentioning it anymore. I don't care what people think of me. If you have a problem with me, leave my channel. Because at the end of the day, you're still watching. So as long as you're watching, I am A-okay with that. So moving on from that, fourth grade went by. My teacher was awesome. Both of my teachers too, like the teacher in the special ed class that I took, and the one in my main class, they both like really helped me. They were really nice to me, and they were supportive. And then same for 5th grade. That teacher was awesome too. She like supported me through. She always helped me. She always had a nice attitude, always nice to me. Very cool as well, had cool taste in music. And yeah, that's really it for me moving here from New Mexico and or moving here from California. So all I've learned is it's a life away, it's a world away from California here, but it's not so bad. New Mexico, I did complain for a while when I first lived here because it sucked. It's a bigger city, there's a lot more crime, there's a lot more poverty and stuff. But the truth, New Mexico has as a state, it's a very beautiful state. We got mountains, we got the desert, we got a lot of nature, a lot of cool stuff, cool history too. And yeah, it's honestly not a bad place to live. Now, I still get altitude sickness, and I still get and I have a lot of breathing issues from the higher altitude and because I was at sea level when I lived in California. I was on a small coastal town, so I was more used to being at very low altitude. So when I moved here, I kind of got asthma. I got altitude sickness, and it was just bad. So now that I'm more adjusted, I'd say it's a lot more comfortable on me. I don't feel in as much pain as I did when I was in California, or when I was first moving here. But yeah, that's basically the whole story about me moving to New Mexico and starting out at a new school and basically a world away from home, or a world away from California. And I left behind a lot of friends in California too, some of which I've connected with through Facebook. Others I haven't really talked to in a while, but I'm hoping to get into contact with. And there's just a lot of friends I've lost contact with over the years. I just don't hang out with anymore, but I try to stay in contact. It's just, it was for me, I've been through a lot in my life, but all these experiences I've had have definitely helped to shape me into who I am today. So at the end of the day, it was not a bad experience. And honestly, I like New Mexico. It's got a lot of cool stuff. Albuquerque even has cool stuff too. It's got terrible crime, it's got bad air quality sometimes, and very bipolar weather, but it's not a bad place to live. Now, if we're talking the worst place I've ever been, it's Bakersfield. Bakersfield, California, it's polluted, it's hot, it's terrible, high crime rate, a lot of political nonsense too, a lot of weirdos out there. Also, it's just not, Bakersfield is worse, it's also just really disgusting. You can't even breathe the air there. It's smells like cows everywhere you go, and oil. Which oil and cows we both need, but you don't need to build a city surrounded by it. We don't need that. Build the farms and the oil rigs outside of the city. It just far away from the city to where you're not polluting people who live there. But I'm rambling on and on. Albuquerque, New Mexico is not such a bad place. I'm even wearing an Isotopes cap. An Albuquerque Isotopes cap. So that's something else about it's unique. New Mexico has its own uniqueness. California, I've been to a lot of states. They all have their things about them that make them unique and cool. So yeah. But that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I know I ramble on and on a lot, but like I said, autism, ADHD, and all that stuff doesn't help me. But yeah, so bottom line is, it's not bad. And for those of you moving from a new place, I understand it. And I actually have another story about when I started fresh at a different high school, when I transferred schools and kind of left a lot of people I had known for a long time behind, basically. But I'll tell that story another time. But yeah, I figured change of pace from crazy things happening to me to just doing a whole backstory, basically. I got more backstories, I got some sagas, I got some just crazy things that have happened to me in my life, and I am full of stories, literally. So, but anyway, like and subscribe, follow, or comment if you can. Tell me some stories about when you've moved to new places. Because I'm kind of wondering, like, what's it like for y'all? I know what it was like for me, but I just kind of wondered. But anyway, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this long, rambling video. And yeah, have a great day, y'all.